course, there's my father, and your grandfather, Bardock. He was one of the most brilliant minds Planet Vegeta had ever seen. A true and gallant warrior who was a valuable asset to our case. A true Saiyan elite, even though those above him failed to recognize his brilliance.
Brilliant, huh? Was he like a scientist or something? Like a scientist?
Hey everyone, GXVL here with a brand new Dragon Ball discussion talking about Dragon Ball R&R. It's been a long time since I've talked about it and reviewed Dragon Ball R&R, but this is going to be more of a recap because I've already, technically speaking, did an episode by episode, video by video review. So might as well talk about the first 5 episodes yet again, but in this summary, alright? So just bear with me what I'm trying to talk about, and especially that I'm going to need to tell everyone who is new to my channel the very premise of Dragon Ball R&R. So yes, if you don't know who Masako X is, I would highly recommend checking out his channel, and he does have a lot more what ifs than this particular one, because this is based on his what if series known as What If Raditz Turned Good, and especially getting a little bit of help from another Dragon Ball fan himself, who is now writing the Dragon Ball series, or just drawing for the most part, either one of those two. That is Taro. If you're familiar with his work, such as Dragon Ball AF, his own version, there are other versions of Dragon Ball AF, but that's besides the point. He also put out something that is called Dragon Ball Zero that Masako X mentioned in his first video, that was What If Raditz Turned Good. So it really helps him out on what story he's putting out, and especially trying to reestablish that story in a form of narration and flashbacks throughout of these episodes. So yeah, even if you haven't watched it yourself already, those videos I'm mentioning, if you're already getting into Dragon Ball R&R already with a blank slate, you'll be fine with a narrator and flashbacks throughout the episode. So you're good, alright? But if you still feel like you need to get a little bit more information out of it, then I would recommend and advise to go check out Masako X's other videos pertaining to the What If Raditz storyline, alright? And now, with the animation style and budget, it makes sense why it's all drawn black and white, and especially going for like a manga aesthetic, alright? Because it has all these animated tweaks and kind of stop motion-esque. I say that because like you're not using like figurines whatsoever, but it kind of looks like that even if you're using like manga like panels as sceneries. And I think it's really nice, but you will be seeing like a full-on animated sequence when it comes to the opening and even the middle commercial parts. Alright, so now you guys know what Dragon Ball R&R is. Let's get right into episode 1. So this is in regards to fusion, and I gotta say this was a fairly decent, and it was trying to be kind of extravagant, which is pretty nice if I say so myself, because you do want to like sell something that looks very exciting, even though it's gonna be a little bit slice of life, which is what Dragon Ball Super is trying to be. So using that type of idea, like something extravagant, something slice of life, trying to be all smooth, especially with very good damn pacing, consistent pacing, because I've seen this issue from Dragon Ball in general, generally speaking, that the consistency of the pacing from the following episodes is well done. All right, so it already sold me on that part. But also, you're going to be seeing like pretty cool fusions, not just Gotenks himself, you will be seeing that, but also a fusion between a boy and a girl for the very first time. Not gonna lie, when I was young, guys, this is not me sidetracking, I had this idea of like, what if Pan and Vegeta fused? Even though that doesn't make any sense, right? But hey, you now get to see this type of fusion, a boy and a girl for the first time. So I'm like, okay then, that's nice. But it always begs me to question, like, so which one is a little bit more dominant? Like, is it based on the name? Because now that I keep on thinking about it, maybe not entirely, I guess. Sure, we got like Vegito and Gogeta though, which you want to think of like, oh, you get the Vegeta dominant side and the Goku dominant side. But now, like watching, like this in action, I'm like, I don't know. It now begs the question a little bit more when you see like who's a little bit more stronger in terms of fusion. You get to see both Raditz and Goku fuse for the first time too. At least in this case, I'm pretty sure they fused before, at least with Ataros, just basing off the opening sequences. But hey, I thought it was a fun watch. Again, fairly decent, and seeing that Masako X is offering his own voice yet again for Goku, it makes perfectly good sense. This is just a nitpick, but it's not much of it like a complaint nor issue. It's something that I took notice that I'm like, I think he used a modulator when it comes to transforming to Super Saiyan 3. I thought that was, kind of useful because not everyone can do a very strong, compelling voice like Sean Schemmel or maybe the likes of Masako Nozawa in a certain extent. Like, I don't know about that one, but of course there's some other Goku voice actors out there. Let it be the Ocean Dub voice actors or someone else for that matter, right? But anyways, now after that, we're now in episode 2. Episode 2, in which I must say this has to be my most personal favorite because it's giving Goten more character, more depth, and I really appreciate that. He gets his own haircuts. He was asking a lot of characters questions, especially the bold characters, like Tien Shinhan, Roshi, and Krillin, because they cut their hair. Or like, well, with Roshi, he's naturally bald. But with Krillin, yeah, he does cut his hair. So he was acting like asking like the other characters if he could cut his hair or not. So that way he can stand out a little bit more. He doesn't want to be treated as like a little Goku. He doesn't want to be too much like his own dad. He wants to be like himself. So I really love that. And just seeing Launch involved a little more since, again, if you watch the Dragon Ball What If series from Masako X, it's really nice and refreshing seeing Launch be more involved and even helping out Goten about things. So I thought that was really nice, really nice to see. So yeah, again, I loved it. Episode 2, I really do. But what happens at the end of episode 2 though leads into episode 3 because Ranch sees Gohan when Goten is trying to talk to his older brother. Of course, Gohan didn't notice Branch, so using, of course, Masako X's videos, he put a very powerful dynamic between Gohan and Ranch. So they have history, so she got very disappointed and ran away so she can, maybe mind her own business or whatever up until she made up with Piccolo. So yeah, this leads into episode 3 where Piccolo... sorry guys about that. So yeah, Piccolo was sharing his own story to Ranch on why Gohan is like this, how he thinks, how he operates, whatever, and especially that the backstory does include Raditz, and he does become like a grade 8 same thing with Gohan. So it was actually pretty cool scene, especially with these flashbacks, trying to give you a good picture and idea of what happened to Raditz a while back. So that's why I had to mention why it's very helpful on having these flashbacks to get a good picture on how this Raditz is completely different than the other Raditz, who's of course like ultimately dead. But anyways, this actually helps Ranch collect her thoughts, and hopefully we'll get to see Ranch and Piccolo having a dynamic again. Heck, you get to see Goku using instant transmission, since he now knows what all the hubbub was, just to bring Gohan and Videl. Apparently, he already filled him in very briefly before doing that. I mean, while doing that, not before, while doing that. And Gohan was like disappointed himself and like, hey, you know what, Ranch? Let me show you something like his old clothes that he used to wear when he was very young. So I thought that was very sweet. I honestly do think episode 3 was also fairly decent. Now, episode 4 though, I don't think it was that really good. I mean, it's not bad either. It's pretty, I want to say it's decent. I think I just got out of it when it comes to someone's voice acting for the first time ever. It is his first time, and I am talking about geekdom, so I'm not gonna be too harsh on the guy whatsoever, but I do wish he had like an oomph or some pizzazz when voicing as like a bad guy type of character. All right, so yeah, this episode is pertaining to Yamcha when it comes to his baseball career, and I thought the story was fine for the most part, especially Android 18 and Krillin's daughter being involved. I thought it was very cute and sweet, but man, I couldn't stop thinking about like geekdom though, because like I wasn't sold on with the character, because I'm like, all I can think about is just geekdom because of the voice. So if he added like a little bit more oomph or pizzazz, I think I would have been completely sold on that, like this is indeed the character that you are supposed to like dislike, right? But nah, this is just geekdom going with the flow. But hey, at the end of the day, he's just having fun with the role by the sounds of it, and I appreciate that. But I'm pretty sure he can do better. I'm pretty sure he has the potential to do better. All right. But of course, like, it's nothing too serious whatsoever. But I think that's the only drawback that the episode have. But so yeah, I have no too much negative feedback on it whatsoever. I thought it was really sweet on how Yamcha's character was handled. So there's that. That's why I think the episode is at least decent. I just think that if Geekdom was ever to think about like doing voice acting again for other Dragon Ball fan-made projects, or if Masako X wants to bring it back in, I think Geekdom just needs to, like find a little bit more pizzazz and oomph within him. I'm not calling myself a voice actor or whatsoever. I'm more like an impression type of dude, especially my close friend Century. I do want to mention that just really quickly, okay?
I mean, by the way, do you know who I am? I'm about to absorb both Android 17 and 18 to achieve my perfect form.
Like that. But like I said, I'm no good at a voice actor or like that good at impressions. But hey, now getting into episode 5 though, the Saiyan roots. Yeah, Red is now telling a story to the 3 kiddos. Well, technically 2 because Trunks comes in a little bit late to the party. But hey, that's okay. I think that fits Trunks' character, all right. And just hearing Radit's very perspective on how he thinks how the Saiyans came to be and how they conquered Planet Tuffle and whatnot. And I thought it was a a cute reference that Raditz called them, like they were very strange, weird creatures, referencing to episode of Bardock. But of course, we do get to see these scenery where they don't really look like that whatsoever, but it's a decent idea on how the Saiyans came to be. But then you get to the parts where Raditz begins to sugarcoat on who he is as a person, but a little bit later he does like break it down, like, okay, then I was acting like this and so on and so forth, at least towards Ranch specifically, than the other kiddos. But of course, the reason he had to sugarcoat is because like he didn't have that much of a great childhood himself, and who could blame the guy, right? And using Dragon Ball Zero in this case, in which I had to look in slightly briefly on what it was about, because Masako X actually said it in his own Dragon Ball What If first video for this particular story series he's trying to go for. I find it very touching, very sweet, especially having Gine have a little bit more character to get the picture on the person who she is. So it's really nice that Raditz would have a much more bigger connection with his mother than with his father. But of course he wanted to make his father sound like he's a Giga Chad though, in which both Ranch and Goten were admiring the grandfather already. Oh wow, so he's kind of like a superhero, huh? And Raditz is like, yes, Goten, he is. And with Ranch, he's like, oh, so he's like a scientist. A scientist! You could blame Launch for that because she was making some puns when it comes to her good self. Like, if you were seeing like the first episode, like, hey, I'm just saying, and I'm like, hey, gotta make a Joker reference. And besides, looking at Dragon Ball Super, at least with the English dub, they are doing some meta references, especially the likes of from the Japanese side of things. I think they did some meta references in Dragon Ball Super as well, if I'm not mistaken. So correct me if I'm wrong there, right? So I think that's all I have to say about with episode 5, though. I thought it was very sweet, very wholesome for the most part, but also very engaging. I don't think it was that grand, but of course, another fairly decent episode. I have to say episode 2 was definitely my most favorite out of the bunch. When we're going into the first 5 episodes, this has been JigsVL saying off right now. It's Just Mission out. If you have been enjoying the content of my channel, please like and subscribe. If you are already a subscriber of mine, please check up on my community tabs for updates, especially for upcoming live streams, so we can have interactive discussions. Furthermore, check out my Newgrounds and or Pixiv profile pages to see my artwork archives. Negative and or positive feedbacks are welcome. But be warned that I do favorite artwork that is not suitable for all ages and come across as uncomfortable. Check out my blogs only on Newgrounds to be updated on my whereabouts and upcoming or in progress works. Lastly, please visit my Letterboxd page to read and see my written movie reviews rather than my videos, and see if we can have a discussion there if you disagree with my takes. Welcome to the GXVLverse, and stay tuned.